welcome to the Boulder Top 5 most anticipated games of 2026 and our top 5 games of 2025. We decided to make a whole video about this because it's something that we usually talk about behind the scenes, or maybe we might put in the Discord. But we thought you guys might like to hear what we're looking forward to, because maybe you guys probably have the same excitement for some of these games. And also, it's always cool to hear what somebody's top 5 games were in the previous year. So we'll start with that. And Sondi, I'll let you go first with your top 5 games. Although, do we want to? We're not doing an order, right?
This is no particular order. Just
okay. Yeah. So yeah, here's your top 5 in no particular order. What we'll do is go back and forth, so you can say your first pick, I'll go my first pick. We'll just do that.
Okay, cool. Let's do it that way. Right. And since I was just talking about it before we hit record, I'm going to talk about Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines 2 for a moment and rant for about people being annoying about this game. So the thing about Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines 2 is, while I do agree with some people that it shouldn't have been called Bloodlines 2, I kind of fight back on that a lot because like it's the first game. Like Grand Theft Auto 1 doesn't play like Grand Theft Auto 3. And Resident Evil 1 doesn't play like Resident Evil 6. So a sequel doesn't necessarily have to.
It's crazy.
I know, I know. But
yeah, that's a great. Okay.
Just wanted to let you know that you're going off the have to play like the first game. You know what I'm saying? The first and second game completely fucking different genres for all we care. But Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines is one of those games where the narrative is amazing. Characters are really well written, and what's really fun to do is just to be a vampire and play like Dishonored and just stealth kill a bunch of people and do crazy stuff. Like I was doing things where I was dipping into the shadow realm, grabbing one guy, pulling him in, teleporting to another guy, throwing him off a building, levitating a machine gun to shoot one guy, then throw it at him, then slice his dude's head off with my hand. Like, the ultimate fantasy of being this super powerful vampire is rewarding to do. Is there a bunch of stuff to do in this open, like this zone that you're in of Seattle? Not necessarily in terms of side quests, but I think for me, it's not really that long of a game. It's only like 19 hours if you just do just the main story. That's fine for me, especially for how much you got to do. It's a very narrative driven, and when you're not politicking, doing like skill trees, being like, are they lying to me? What's going on? When you're not doing that, then you're obviously going around the city, jumping over rooftops, and just being this crazy superpowered freak. And that's fun to me. That's all I needed. And there's a weird caveat people like to do where they like to say that this isn't an RPG, quote unquote, but like GTA is an RPG. So because it doesn't have stats, because it doesn't have a expensive skill tree or gear score, you believe that it's not an RPG when it is an RPG. Just like GTA is an RPG. Everything doesn't necessarily have to be a stereotypical level up, get 5 points in a whatchamacallem to be called an RPG, And
is it like an RPG light?
Yeah, like you still level up, you still get skill points, there's still a skill tree. There's little skill vendors that you can go to, like the different vampire clan members. You can meet up with them and like get different powers from the different skill tree lines, and there's passives and stuff. And then plus that all culminates in the narrative. So the way that you talk to people changes their disposition. Like I was a real dickhead to the prince, and by the time that a certain very obvious twist happened, I kind of like, my character kind of like obviously was like, no shit, fuck you, and that was kind of fun to have, where like my character was like, I knew it. Or even just being able to lie, or like them catching you in a lie, like they'll see you through. It's all gonna be this getting you to the same point, but at least you'll have different, it's like this conversation starts like this, then it branches out, and then it eventually comes back out. But I don't mind that, because the story is kind of has to do what it's got to do, especially for what the fuck happens at the end, which is crazy.
Okay. Yeah, I can't say I've noticed that there's a huge love of vampires. I didn't even realize that there was like that people like were into vampires like this. Although the signs were all around me, right? Castlevania. You have
Twilight.
Yeah, Twilight. You know,
Teen Wolf.
there's some other. What are some other games that are vampire oriented? Right there. Well, there's Vampire, right? That's a vampire game, obviously. But yeah, vampire's like a sort of big thing, and there's a couple of new vampire games coming out. What it's called, Dawn of Bloodwalker,
or Blood of the Dawnwalker. Yeah, that's gonna be really good.
Vampires are a huge thing. I've never really cared for vampires. Even having read Dracula when I was like, 12 years old. Like I remember I bought like this old book just because it looked cool, and it was, the original Dracula, and I read that. Never particularly interested in it. Also, first person, been really not feeling first person. I don't know what it is. Just like this year I realized I'm like, I don't think I fuck with first person at all. But I think I'm just like in a mode right now. I'll probably come back to it at some point. One of my top 5 picks for 2025. I'm gonna go with Silent Hill F. Silent Hill F. I'm a huge Silent Hill fan, as you know, and I feel like taking the series in such a bold direction, but one that kind of almost makes sense in some way, because the developers of Silent Hill have largely been Japanese. It's cool to take it to 1960s Japan. It was cool to give the other world a new makeover. It's not just fog, but it's like fog and flowers and like guts and intestines and like bloody things. It's a weird mix of things, very uncomfortable in some ways, almost like coral reef, like oceanic flowers and flora. It's really, really strange, really creepy. The story also was a lot better than I thought, a lot more coherent. It's pretty intense, very, very intense. And I thought of you a lot because the gameplay is actually like the best in the series. Like they actually were like, let's actually make this like feel good, and
let's
like
give him perfect dodges and
yeah, which is crazy, but it's like that's a great move to make in an era where Souls games their influence is seen everywhere. And while I wouldn't say this is like a Souls game, it can be pretty tough, but it's a good move on their part, because I think it made it successful and it made it more interesting to a lot of people. So it's definitely one of my top games of last year. I will say though that it is annoying that to get the complete picture of the story, you need multiple playthroughs. And I didn't want to play the game. It's 12 to 15 hours long, and I'm like, I don't want to play this again.
Yeah, I feel
so maybe later, but then I feel like I'm gonna have to like maybe watch a video on like what the complete story is. But it's really good. I really like the story, very psychological. I think it retains a lot of what Silent Hill is, but also really changes it, because a lot of people want Silent Hill to be what it was, but I think the series does need to evolve and let like the indie devs kind of do their survival horror, like let the little niggas kind of do that now. I think Silent Hill is okay to sort of evolve into something else, not completely like change what it does, but just kind of like let's push the franchise, the IP forward a little bit. And I think Silent Hill F did that for me. It really hit.
I do agree with you on the survival horror aspect of that, because that's why I really like the transition from fixed camera to over the shoulder third person perspective for Resident Evil, and how it kind of like changed the entire survival horror genre to that still, because it fit very nicely for Resident Evil, because it was already an action-y story series from the jump, even with 2 and 3. So making that jump felt like it was. And from what I recall from Silent Hill, it seems like after 3 they were kind of having an identity crisis of what are we going to do, how are we going to elevate from here. and it seems like this is the one that really hit it out of the park. And I do agree with you that they do not need to worry about doing no fixed camera, no over the shoulder shit, because the indie scene, they have that covered. There's like now like 4 Parasite Eve games coming out.
Yeah, I've seen that where I was like, well, I mean, they weren't giving us a Parasite Eve remaster or a sequel, so now you're finally seeing all the niggas like that want to be inspired by it.
Yeah, and the fact that Avalanche Reviews is on like part 10 of like modern Resident Evil clones, and each one has like 20 of them in each video, that should show you that like we are good. We do not need y'all. So from what I've seen, I think I've only seen like the very beginning when Josie was streaming it, and then I think I watched one boss fight with like a screaming lady when you got like the Naginata
boss fight.
Yeah, I watched that and I was like, okay, I got this. I think I can play this. But you know, there's so many games that came out. Last year was a stacked year. Like there was still like Cronus the New Dawn and stuff that came out.
I do want to say that the other world, I'm kind of getting a little tired of the Japanese setting. And this, it's cool that it's set in the 1960s. But when you go to the other world, the shrine world in this,
it's just straight
in Silent Hill
Shamesans.
It's really boring. Like I was a little shocked. I'm like, I wish there was a bit more variety here.
Yeah.
And it kind of clicked. I'm like, I think I might be getting tired of like this whole aesthetic, the Japanese kind of architecture, which is really weird because I've always loved it, and I I've been wanting to play Yakuza
Ishin.
Ishin, yeah, or Like a Dragon Ishin, whatever the hell, but and then I played Fate Samurai Remnant, which takes place in like feudal Japan. I'm just like, I think I might be a little burnt out on this like era, this. But anyways, go on. Yeah, go to your next pick, or your next pick.
I just switched.
Wait
one
a
of those
second,
picks.
you're. No, that's fair because what you had in there was confusing to me. I was like, what is this?
So I really,
ladies and gentlemen, in real time, Sondi changed Battlefield 6. He changed his pick, Battlefield 6 to. Go ahead, Sondi.
To Echoes of the End. I had to really look back at all the games I played, and I was like, like when you start thinking about certain ones, like Ghost of Yotei, Battlefield 6, Oblivion Remastered, like type shit, They're inoffensive, They're not really. I don't want to say they're not pushing a needle or anything like that, but it's like they're safe. They're extremely safe.
Yeah.
And they don't really do anything interesting. But Echoes of the End is doing a lot of interesting things. This is a boater game through and through. It runs a little janky. It just got an enhanced edition update, which added like a clothing system and like relics. So you can have relics that like make it to where your magic drains your health but does double damage. Like just weird stuff like that. They've added some updates that made the game a little bit better to play, but at least from what I played, it's a quick 10-hour 360 era action adventure game. You get a double jump, you get a dash, an air dash, you can get like a grapple hook. It does something every time I get to the point to where I'm like, okay, this is getting really formulaic. They add some new puzzles, some new elements, some new monsters, some new creatures, or new style that just like throws me off, where I'm like, I didn't expect this from this game. Like there was a point where you're in a volcano and the game literally does like prey gravity defying, like you're on the roof and you gotta jump from the other side, like gravity switching up and down and around on this weird diorama. There was one section where it was like a platforming rush where you had to do like grapples into like a whole section. There's one part where you can teleport back and forth or go back in time. And combat, you have like, your standard dodging, parrying, and it kind of plays like the Force Unleashed, I would say, where you're attacking people and Or kind of sort of like Jedi Survivors a little bit, where you have your lightsabers and then you can throw your lightsaber and your force abilities and stuff. So it was really cool. It was really cool. I really liked it. It was the first game by these developers. A couple industry vets. They made this studio, and I think it's a good first entry. I think they're going to be one of those people like Focus Interactive, like Greedfall, Vampire, where they're not AAA or AA. They're kind of like that weird in between of like A+ games, where it's like they had like another $100 million, this would have been like a really good game, but they don't. So this like, you could tell the budget caps out here, and it's like, damn, if only they had more. And that's the perfect butter recipe, and it's a great game. I think it was a great game for me. Don't buy it at full price like I did, like a weirdo, but
yeah, I had my eyes on Echoes of the End before it was released as well, only because I was like, oh, this looks kind of cool, mid-budget, mid to lower budget, I would say. That and Eternal Strands had a very similar feel, kind of industry veterans making a like a brand new IP, and I feel like it looks really, really good. Where's my phone? But I'll be probably playing it at some point this year. We'll see what happens.
I also did get Eternal Strands, and that is a really good game as well too, at least from the time being. I didn't really get really far in it. I just kind of played around, dabbled in that first area, but just being able to use, like, it's like Breath of the Wild on crack, like having that actual good combat, and you can put the ice on the wings to make the dragon fall down, or
Wild on crack, yeah.
you can break the, like, it's what I expect from games nowadays. When I like think about video games being innovative, I don't think of them having like Ghost of Yotei ass, like the wind points me to the fox den that does the same upgrade. I think of destroying the environment so that I can shoot through a wall and hit the next person, or climbing this boss and attacking a leg ligament so that it falls over, and then I freeze his hand so it's stuck on the ground so that I can slam a hammer in his head. Like, that's cool as shit. I didn't really get far because it doesn't really run well on my computer, but I'm just kind of just waiting on some more balance patches or patch notes or fixes.
Another one of my picks for 2025 is Dynasty Warriors Origins. I feel like actually everything I said about Silent Hill F in terms of its position in the franchise moving forward is what Dynasty Warriors Origins did. Dynasty Warriors, just like Silent Hill, Dynasty Warriors, the franchise, the IP, was sort of in a dangerous spot because their last one did so bad, and all of their other spin-offs were doing so much better, right? So we weren't sure what Dynasty Warriors 10 was going to look like. We weren't sure where the series was going to go after this next installment. And I think what they did here is made a lot of bets on this one. You know, they gutted the roster. No longer can you select all these characters. You're just playing as one guy, one nigga, and he's inserted in the whole Three Kingdoms story. And they revamped the graphics, like, totally. Koei has been like clinging on to whatever engine they've been using for like 8 entries, and then in 9 they kind of redid the engine, but they did it for an open world, which didn't work very well. And then for Dynasty Warriors Origins, they really like went in and had more intention with having a open, what would you call it, Sondi? It's like a world map.
Yeah, they had like an overmap, like an overworld, where it was kind of like a Final Fantasy as like overworld, where you kind of walk to your towns and then you would go in and it would like load in an area.
Yeah, so they have that aspect. You have different weapons with a really satisfying progression on them, although some of them start to feel a little samey, and I also wish they would have added more weapons. But Dynasty Warriors Origins really clamps down on a lot of its systems, and kind of refines them, and then also really makes those battles feel like they probably should have always felt. Like it's the first next gen feeling Dynasty Warriors, and it was incredible to play. I didn't even finish the game. I got 30 hours in, and I was like, okay, I'm done for now. But I'm gonna go back because there's DLC coming out at the end of this month. So I'm gonna go through that. But it's an incredible game, and there's nothing like it. There's nothing that compares with this many enemies on screen. This feeling of power is like they recaptured Dynasty Warriors, although they took out my favorite part of Dynasty Warriors, and that is playing as different characters. But I hope to see maybe in Dynasty Warriors Origins 2 or whatever the fuck they do, more playable characters or something. But yeah, this game was one of my favorites, and I've thought about it a lot, and I can't wait to go back to it at the beginning of this year with the new DLC.
I definitely agree as well. I do want to go back and try one because I only did Wei's story, and I definitely want to go back and try to do like Wu or Shu and see the differences, especially with the new DLC coming out. Because the only thing I know about it is that they are adding a couple different weapons, but the only one I've seen is like the bow is getting its own moveset.
Yeah, the bow. Yeah.
But yeah, I definitely agree with everything you said with Dynasty Warriors Origins. It's weird that it oddly fits having your one character, having the overworld, slowly building your units and your tactics, and like having like the charging ability and the duels, everything that they've added, and just the sheer amount of people on screen is insane, and it always is satisfying no matter the fight. Every time you get to that one area where it's just chaos and people flying everywhere, it feels great. And I'll give a little honorable mention to Warriors Abyss because I also had Dynasty Warriors Origin on my list, and I do agree that I'm glad that this is what it's going on, and I hope that in the going forward they use what they've learned here. Hopefully they can maybe make it to where you get a couple of different characters, or maybe like you get a partner character,
a custom character.
Or custom character. Make it customize
custom character. You know?
Yeah.
I would have loved to be able to just change the armor, change the look, or just make your character from the ground up if you don't want to create all these other characters. But I don't know what they'll do. I feel like they might just stick to just one character. But
Warriors Abyss is an honorable mention.
I was gonna ask what you were saying about Warriors Abyss.
It's for some reason, well, they dropped 3 Muso games, but we don't have Switch 2, so Hyrule Warriors 2 to me doesn't doesn't count. But or is it 3? Hyrule Warriors 3. But Warriors Abyss is exactly what I've been asking for. Both of these games are what I've been asking for from the Dynasty Warriors series. I've been asking for a good single player story driven RPG focused Dynasty Warriors game, because that's what I used to do as a kid. I used to make my own creative character and role play as a general for whatever army I was fighting in, and that's literally what you do in this game. So that was a win. And Warriors Abyss is a roguelike Warriors game, which is all I wanted. I just wanted to play a roguelike and get as far as I can and just keep looping and fight the final boss or whatever with my Warriors characters, and you get that. And it's one of those games where when you first start playing it, it kind of throws you off a little bit. You're like, yeah, this is cool, but I don't know. But the more you play it and the more deeper you get down that skill tree, like once you max out the whole like tree and you're just like spending the points on like leveling them up and getting their treasures and transcending them, and oh man, it gets hectic because you get like different levels each time you beat the game. You get a higher level, but then you get higher rewards, and you can unlock like more of the orbs or whatever that give you more point power-ups or whatever. Like it's more likely, but then it also gets harder. So once you get to danger level 6, I believe, which is the highest level, then the final boss completely changes to a completely different like style, and it's a hectic game. I love it. It's one of those games where I have on my Steam Deck, and it's either that or Nuclear Throne, and I'm just, if I play it, I'm sucked in for an hour and I can't stop myself. It's great.
So Warriors Abyss is sort of like a honorable mention for you.
Yeah, just because you mentioned everything I was going to say about Dynasty Warriors. Right. So figured I'd give another game some clout.
Yeah. Warriors Abyss is interesting. That came out last year, right?
Yep, that came out like a month later.
It was sort of a Warriors. Yeah, you're right. It was like a Warriors renaissance at the beginning of the year because of Warriors Origins coming out and then Abyss. Abyss is like a monkey paw deal to me, where it was like I would love like a roguelite where I get to but I think there's some things in it where I was like I don't know if I like this. I think they over designed some of like the mechanics in the game. I think it's a little overwrought with like a lot of random stats. Like it almost feels like it was going to be a mobile game. Like there's like a little bit of that feel in there. Yeah, like there was just some things in there that put me off. I actually just beat it a couple weeks ago after having it for a year. And I was like, yeah, I love that all this progression. I love having all these characters here, but the change in camera angle, which makes sense because they're probably going after like a Hades kind of roguelike thing. Yeah, the change in camera angle and also what the fuck else I didn't there was just like a good list of things
like,
I was like
the charge attacks, some characters don't have the charge attacks required for what's going on and how hectic the game will get in later stages. Like for example, what's the fat nigga name? On Way.
Fat guy.
Not Dean Way. He's the bald dude.
You're talking about the guy with the big like?
Yeah.
He has like the big
hammer.
Like, fucking. Yeah. I can't remember his name. Shahu Yun, or something like that. I don't know.
Something like that. But yeah, there's always like characters like him, like the slow, stocky, or like the ones that have like tricky play styles. Like they don't really like mesh well because you're trying to like do these attacks and then you're trying to like you have to finish a charge attack in order to summon your allies so that they can do more damage. And for some characters, it's like I'm never going to use my fourth support character because that fourth string is ass, and it kind of makes it not fun to play certain characters. Like for me, I really don't like Lubu's playstyle in Dynasty Warriors. What was that? What is this model from? 9 or 8? And that's another thing is that some of these characters are like Dynasty Warriors 8, some are 3, some are 4, some are Warriors 4, some are extreme. Like it's so weird, like the mixture of characters that they have in there, and it doesn't throw me off. Like my favorite character in all Musou games is Lu Ming. He's ass in Warriors Abyss. So yeah, but in Jiang Wei, he's ass in Warriors Abyss. But then characters like fucking Kaitai Shiba and Shibata and what is that dude? He's under Nobunaga. Like he's cool, or like freaking Sun Sun Yang. I never play her, but she's fine in this game. It's weird. I don't know.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, I don't know. It's strange. Who's next? Am I next or you're next?
Oh yeah, that was technically both of us. So I'll snatch it over and I'll say Hell Is Us.
Okay.
Hell Is Us was a game that won me over because the main director is the guy that did Deus Ex. And I was watching a Friends Per Second podcast interview with him while I was playing that game. And he mentioned that at the time, during the turn of the millennium, we kind of lost our sense of adventure because quest logs became normalized. Like all these quality of life features that we have in video games now kind of numbed us from feeling and having that sense of discovery ourselves. Like you didn't find that area. The waypoint told you about that area. And Hell Is Us is a game where it literally starts out and has a warning screen that says there's no quest log, there's no quest markers, there's no map, there's no, telling you where to go. You're gonna have to figure this out on your own. And I can literally pull them up right here. I have pages upon pages of like weird fucking notes, just like trying to figure out what the fuck was going on in this game, and it's crazy. Like, I had to legitimately write down stuff. I had to legitimately like remember things, and I failed a lot of quests because I didn't do them correctly. Like, for example, in the beginning, there's one girl, she's stuck in like a door, and she's like, "Please help! Can you find the other trinket so we can get out of here?" And I didn't find it until the end of the game. So when I went back to go in there, they were dead, and I was like, "Oh damn! If only I came, or if only I went to this area earlier in the sequence instead of going to it last, I could have saved this lady, and she wouldn't have died." Right. And plus, the game, it does follow the name. Hell is Us. You are going to be seeing some extreme war crimes. There's a lot of trigger warnings in that game, and it's a game that even myself, my cigarette smoking ass, had to step outside a couple times and be like, "Whew, that was intense right there." It's a very intense game, and there's one particular scene that was so gruesome. And it's not even in like a visceral, like gory sense, just in a sheer scale and magnitude that you kind of just like, I kind of gagged a little bit, like, whoa, like that's kind of insane to think about. And that's the cool part about this game is you have this weird Souls-like combat with these like weird monsters and eldritch beings and climbing through ancient ruins. And then you also have this wartime story that's going on top of that. And you're trying to uncover that and pick up the pieces of that and go deeper in, and you're experiencing both sides of this at the same time, because monsters will appear, war crimes are happening and they appear, and it's like all this while you're like writing in your journal like fucking weird ass marks, like, hold on, this mark might go to here, and that mark might even be a thing until 3 hours from now. Like, it's a game that made me think, and it's the most challenging game that I've played, both emotionally, no, I wouldn't say emotionally, but like, I guess in a sense of like, to my core, it was kind of like, oh shit, like that's a group of children burning in that pile of burning bodies. Fuck. Oh damn. Like, yeah. And I think it is. I do agree with the director of what he said, that I did feel accomplished because there was no quest log, there was no quest markers or anything like that. Everything that I found and everything that I did not find was because of me, and that felt good. Especially because when I beat the game, I realized I only really didn't find like 2 or 3 things, and that's probably because of those 4 quests that I failed to do in certain order. So I really want, I beat it, and I want everybody to play this game because it is. I wouldn't say it's just like South of Midnight. Combat's not the point. And if you go in thinking that this is going to be a combat-oriented game, then you will be disappointed. It's a game that's more of a puzzle adventure game than it is about the combat. The combat's good. The combat's there. Combat? Yeah, there's combat around. Like, you can level up your weapons, you can upgrade them. There's like different things because you have a drone, and the drone has abilities, and you also have abilities. You have like 4 different styles. There's rage, ecstasy, terror, and loathing, and they all are like different elements. So like rage is more like berserkers, like you can throw a spear, a javelin spear, and like, or you could make yourself like stronger and like attack boost and defense boost. But then like terror is more like crowd control and slows enemies and shoots electric beams or so they all have different abilities. Plus your drone can make you like whirlwind or double jump or fly around or teleport. So yeah, great.
Yeah, it's a game I'll definitely probably try at some point on a deep sale. I think I've seen a lot of gameplay of it, but yeah, for some reason the concept is more interesting to me than the way the game looks. As far as like art style and all that kind of stuff, but at some point I will give it a try for sure.
It's definitely a game that you would enjoy. I do say that because, like you said, you like walking around games and just taking in the atmosphere, and this game is very rewarding for that because you legitimately have to stare at, like, there's certain things you'll literally miss it if you don't look at the like wall and go, huh, look at that texture, wow, let me look inside this car, and then you'll be like, oh, that's That's a code to a safe in an area across from here. Let me go look that up. So it's very rewarding.
Another one for my top 5. So this would be my third one in my top 5. Although again, in no particular order, will be Absalom. This was a game that I found out maybe a month before release that it was coming out, and I just thought I loved the art style. I was like, this looks really dope. And I saw that it was a beat 'em up. I didn't know it was a roguelite. And to be honest with you, I didn't really know what a roguelite was up until I played this game. Like, I didn't get, because I hadn't really played any of them, so I never really understood like what the mechanics were, you know. And so I started playing this, and it like fucking just clicked randomly, and I was like, oh wait, Warriors Abyss is a roguelite, and then this is a roguelite, because it's like, you know, you're making a build to get to the end, and you only, well, with Warriors you have more chances, but with, you know, Absalom, you only have one chance to get to like that last boss, although you get more lives later on. But yeah, I kind of started to figure out, I'm like, oh, this is super addicting, and it made me realize, you know, why Hades was probably so popular, and why like Risk of Rain and other things, you know, there are a lot of roguelites. I just didn't know what the fuck they were, but Absalom really made the genre click for me, is what I'll say. I already love beat 'em ups, and I think that the world here and the combat feels so good. Probably one of the best feeling beat 'em ups ever. Beat 'em ups have that issue of, especially older ones, where like your attacks have to like be on the same plane, and it might not connect correctly.
Yeah.
You know, so you're just like,
you do the
River City Girls even.
Yeah, you just do the punch. Until it hits.
Yeah, River City Girls has that issue, and it's like a newer one. So it's really like old school in that way. But Absalom is an excellent feeling game. It's like the Devil May Cry, I guess we'll say, of beat 'em ups, and I really enjoyed it. I put 40 hours into it, and I always am surprised at that, because it feels like such an arcadey game that you'd maybe play for like 15 hours. But because I put actually 54 hours into it, I'm always like surprised at how much I spent in that world, and I maxed out like the meta progression. I beat the final boss, but you have to go back again and beat this other boss, like, and I'm like, that's so difficult, you know. So, which I think is common for roguelites, to have like the final boss, but then you're like, oh, well, there's actually a whole other thing you got to go back in on. And so I was like, what the fuck are you talking about? No
type shit.
Yeah. So it's really good. I encourage everybody to play it, because it really it's one of the finest beat 'em ups, and I'm sure it's a really great roguelite. I just don't have too much to compare it to, but I think some of the systems are great looking game. I hope they add more characters, or maybe like a different map or something that you traverse, but it's great. I would say I guess I'm trying to compare it to Dragon's Crown. It's like Dragon's Crown has a bit more,
it's got a little more heft to it.
Yeah, it's a bit slower. Dragon's Crown is a bit slower. And Dragon's Crown also takes its time with like you learning moves, and
it's more traditional.
There's more options for your moves. Yeah, more traditional. Yeah, which Dragon's Crown is a game I need to beat. I always start it, and I'm just like, there's something about it where I'm just like,
yeah,
I don't know.
that is very interesting, though, because roguelikes, I've been trying to parse this in my head, but it's like it's so hard to think about them like that. But like roguelikes are high key the evolution of arcade games. They are the games that you would play in the arcade if the arcades were still a thing. You would be playing a quick round of Absalom.
Melded with RPG mechanics.
Yeah. You would play a quick game of Rogue Legacy or Nuclear Throne in an arcade or something like that. But I don't know. I feel like sometimes, like, that's why it throws me off a little bit when you say that Absalom's a roguelike. I'm like, what? Because if it was just like a straight traditional beat 'em up, I'd be like, yo, this is fire. But yeah, I don't know. It's one of those things I probably got to play it for myself to see how it is. Because like, I feel like sometimes roguelikes, and this is why I don't really play a lot of roguelikes, is back in the day, they really were like arcade, where it's like, okay, you maybe get like 1 or 2 power-ups, and you got a choice between this or this. This one may be good, it may be bad, I don't know, figure it the fuck out. But like now roguelikes are like, you got 70 different upgrades and this gives you +5. It's like every roguelike is like Neo now, where it has a bunch of bullshit parameters.
Too many choices.
Yeah, and it's like +3% attack speed, and it's like, what the fuck does that even do? I'm just grabbing a bunch of bullshit at this point. Where old roguelikes, where it's like you would grab 3 items, but those 3 items might make you like shoot laser beams instead of teardrops and move like a ghost.
Yeah. Why? How do I have 2 left? Oh, because Dynasty Warriors.
Because Dynasty Warriors was both of us. Yeah.
All right. Well, maybe I should go again, and then I'll pass it off to you, and then back to me, because I have 2. So, I'm gonna go with Death Stranding 2. Death Stranding. I played both Death Strandings in 2025, and they instantly became like my favorite game. One of my favorite games of all time. Like they moved up in my, let's say, top 20 of all time. Like they're like at probably like 3 and 8 or somewhere. Like,
sheesh.
Interchange them. Like they blew me away, and because it really is a game. It's funny because I was thinking the other day while driving, Death Stranding DS Delivery Simulator. I was just thinking about how the game really is centered around like that whole mechanic, but it's so sad. There's so many satisfying mechanics. It's like everything that Kojima learned from Metal Gear Solid 5 and all its like mini menu systems and mini progressions, combined with Peace Walker, he like put into Death Stranding, and so it's so satisfying. Death Stranding 2 especially refines everything that was in Death Stranding 1. So I think Death Stranding 2 is just a better game in terms of gameplay and systems and all that, and it just feels so good. It's relaxing, it's tranquil, it can be hectic and chaotic. It's just beautiful and haunting. It's very inventive. You'll never see everything that you see in that game is like nothing you've ever seen before in regards to enemies, weapon designs, things like that. It's just super absurd, but everything also makes sense mechanically. Like nothing feels too alien or out there. Everything like seems like, oh, that could work, if like Louis Vuitton decided to design a fucking robot.
Fucking like, BT.
It's like it is insane, and it's just like it's a game that I don't think is for everybody, and I think that's what makes it special, because it's a game that targets a specific maybe personality type or gamer type, whatever. And I feel like I'm one of the people that it targets, like just grabs me, and I'm like, yes, I love this. It's incredible. I just feel like I think I put about 100 hours into the first Death Stranding, and then I put about 60 into Death Stranding 2. And I burnt myself out because I played them back to back.
Yeah.
but I plan to go back and finish it at some point this year, before the rush of games, comes out here. So
last
Death
year,
Stranding 2, definitely.
It is crazy because I'm looking at your list and I'm like, damn, I forgot Silent Hill and Death Stranding came out last year. But there was just so many games that came out last year, bro. Mark Raiders, it's so many games that it just kind of got lost in the shuffle. But I feel like this was one of those games that everybody was like the most excited for when it came to 2025, right?
That's right. Yep.
Yeah. So like, I think it was one of the, honestly, I still want to play Death Stranding 1. I haven't played the first one, and I think it will slap. I don't know. It's just one of those games. Like I said, it's one of those games where you have to play it in order you'll be like, oh, okay, I fuck with this. But like, I don't know. To me right now, looking at it, I'm like, I'm not playing that shit.
For some reason, yeah, I don't know that you'll be into them entirely, but maybe. I feel like once you get it, because I feel like part of what I like about it is just the atmosphere, and you're alone a lot, and you're just figuring out your path, and the game just looks amazing too. But once you get that first delivery in and you understand the mechanics and the rewards with it, it becomes so addicting. It's like, oh, I'm gonna deliver this to this guy now because that's gonna level up my relationship with him, and he'll give me more tech to make other deliveries easier. He'll give me access to parts of the game that I don't have access to, like weapons, vehicles, armor, whatever, which I can like. It's just like a really really great system, and there's just the game is so funny and weird and abstract, and it's just like nothing you've ever seen before, you know. Like I would point to this, like if my grandpa, you know, was like, oh, like I was playing Pong, you know, or fucking Tetris, you know, I'd be like, look at where games have come, let me show you this, and you'd be like, what the fuck, like you just like it's trying to explain, you know, like it's such a what the fuck game, but it's also like the most artful game.
It's one of those games you got on the big screen and you be like, look at this shit, bro, this shit next gen as hell, ain't it? Like it's one of those games.
Yeah, it's insane. So yeah, that's one of that's in my top 5 for last year. So you can go with your, I guess, your 5th selection of your top 5.
Oh yes, I've gushed about this game too many times. I'm going to continue to gush about this game a billion times. South of Midnight is amazing. It's breathtaking at times, and we like to do this thing where we like to, you know, just stare at the environment, stare at that poster on the wall, you know,
Death Stranding core.
Yeah, and South of Midnight, I feel like, is underrated in how much aesthetically it gets right about the American South. From the way that the people talk, from the way that the people act, from the knickknacks and the stuff that's surrounding the windows and the interiors that you get to look around, from the dilapidated buildings to the way that the forestry and swamps look. It's the way that the people even just talk. And they don't talk like video game characters. They talk like people in a good way. Like, feels like that's a real conversation a child will have with their mother's boyfriend when they actually like the mother's boyfriend, and the mother's boyfriend has issues and he's like, listen, I don't want to get y'all involved in my issues. Like, you get these mature stories in this world that feels very fantastical. Like it kind of throws me off a little bit in the beginning because you expect it to be like some crazy globe. Like the story starts out, for example, like for those that don't know, you play as this girl and a hurricane's hitting in the middle of Louisiana. You live in Louisiana and a hurricane hits and your mom was in the trailer when it goes flying away. So you're trying to find your mom and you get these mystical powers of a weaver. And as a weaver, your job is to pretty much stitch back the bad memories of people, but you're not really solving their trauma. What you're doing is you're just allowing them to cope. So you get different characters throughout. I think it's like 4 or 5, where you kind of have this general loop of platforming, getting the power up or whatnot, fighting some monsters, and then that leads like a giant trauma ball, and then you get a little bit more lore about that character, and then at the end you get this big culmination of a boss fight, and then you get the release of how that character is going to cope with the trauma that you have learned by weaving together the world. And for some people, they don't cope. For some people, they do things that are questionable. For some people, they change and help you out throughout the adventure. And I think it's a very interesting story, especially because you get this weird fantastical world in Hazel, which, no relation to my dog, gets to learn more about. And her mom has already been in this fantastical world, and like all these like crazy creatures are like there's like nagging Molly, which is a giant spider lady that takes orphans and raises them because nobody else wants to raise the orphans, so she raises them herself and helps them out. And for like half the game, you're like, this giant spider lady took my mama, turns out the giant spider lady helped your mom, and you know, you get like certain things like that. So I think South of Midnight, I'm sorry, it's very early on in the game you learn that, but I'm sorry, but
yeah, no, it sounds like the story sounds very, very interesting. I'm realizing how I didn't talk about really the story for any of the games that I like. Silent Hill.
I try not to just because I'm an accidental spoiler like that. But I just it's a game
same.
It's a game that is so easy to explain because, like I said, it's just you platform, you get some power ups, you fight some monsters, clear a little thing, get a cutscene, go on to the next area, do that, rinse and repeat 3 or 4 times, then fight a boss, and then move on to the next area. And it's not a bad thing, especially for how short the game is. I beat it in 2 days, and I wasn't like I was playing it all day like I normally be playing games. So,
right.
Yeah. So I mean, it's a great game, and it made me cry. I will keep mentioning this over and over again. It made me cry multiple times. Not like, oh, this is so sad, but like, this is the most beautiful thing I've seen ever in a video game. Yeah.
So your top 5 then is South of Midnight, Hell Is Us, Vampire, The Masquerade Bloodlines 2, Dynasty Warriors Origins, and Echoes of the End.
Yes, sir.
We're sealing that. We're locking that in. My last pick for my top 5 is Monster Hunter Wilds. Again, this is a game that probably is my number 1 game of 2025, and I've also gushed about this game for many reasons, but it's exactly the type of Monster Hunter game that I wanted, even though a lot of people don't like it because of some of those reasons. It's streamlined, it's sleek, it plays beautifully, has some great extra combat mechanics that really add to the fight with any given monster. Customization is great, and I just love that gameplay loop. Love the I'm not gonna say I love all the environments. I love the first 2, but I really love the first 2, which is the desert and the jungle. Love those 2, and then after that, I'm like, I fucking hate these. But I think it's great. I have so much time spent in that game. It's a game-ass game. I mean, I paid attention to the story and it was fine, but like, it's just. I lived in that game, you know, just exploring the world, taking it slow, being an adventurer. While it doesn't feel as simulaty, I guess, as simulator-ish as previous installments, I think it feels like my Monster Hunter, you know, and I think that's okay. And it's just I love it. I love that game to death.
Yeah.
So with that being said, my top 5, in no particular order, is Death Stranding 2, Dynasty Warriors Origins, Silent Hill F, Absalom, and Monster Hunter Wilds. And we can go through this somewhat quickly. We want to do our top 5 anticipated games of 2026. There's actually not that much that I'm excited for or that I know of that's coming out 2026. Absurdly,
I was thinking the same way. I feel the same way.
Yeah.
I mean, we have 10 whole different 9 whole different games on this list, but still, it feels like, I don't know, like other than Grand Theft Auto 6, I don't know, bro.
Yeah, we both left Grand Theft Auto 6 because that's an obvious one. I mean, everyone's looking forward to that, you know. So what we'll do, instead of going back and forth here, I'm just gonna go through mine real quick,
okay,
and then you can go through yours. So, and this is somewhat in order, actually. Though Sondi, you don't have to do yours in order. So my first one, number 1, is I'm a huge X-Men fan. Wolverine's coming out, and it'll be it's gonna be, I'm hoping, on the same level as, like, you know, their Insomniac Spider-Man game. And while I'm not ecstatic about the idea that Wolverine, yet again, out of all the X-Men, is getting his own game, because he has already like 4, You know, I understand. I love the character. You know, and I love the X-Men. So I'm glad that we're starting somewhere. So I'm really looking forward to it. The game looks extremely violent, really bloody, which I'm kind of surprised about, because Spider-Man 2 felt so like the characters felt so PG. You know, it's sort of weird to have Wolverine over here like dismembering niggas, like fucking. It looks insane. Like I rewatched some gameplay earlier today, and I was like, God damn! Like, wait, hold up! Like this looks insane. Like I'm not a huge fan of like Mortal Kombat levels of gore. You know, like not to say that I'm like prudish or like I'm like but like I'm not. Like there are like gore ass niggas that just love like
watching brains
gore
explode
porn or
and
whatever.
shit,
Yeah, like they love like the violence, and I'm just like looking at this. I'm like, wow, this is really focusing on the visceral. Like Wolverine feels like a fucking menace.
Yeah, he's
you
not
know,
even that vicious in the comics. Well, he's the runs
which
leading.
Unless he's Berserker. So I'm like kind of curious where they're gonna go with this story, how it'll play into the X-Men, or how they'll play into his Weapon X past. Or like I'm curious how dark they're gonna get. So I'm very curious about that. I am skeptical. I'm kind of like, I don't know if they can do this. You know, I don't know what the gameplay is gonna be like. But if it's basically like Wolverine Uncharted, like just linear, like slightly open stages, you know, with maybe some slightly
with some Arkham combat where you stab some dude a couple times in the chest.
Yeah, and as long as there's a bunch of like if they respect I know they're gonna make Wolverine their own, but as long as they kind of really are thoughtful with the changes that they make and stuff, I'm on board, and I'm really, really, really excited. I haven't bought a special edition in a very long time, but I'll probably buy the the collector's edition for this. Next is Crimson Desert.
I don't know what the fuck this game is, bro. I still don't know. I've seen so much gameplay.
It's Korean Dragon's Dogma.
Bro, they just said Korean the map is 2 times larger than Skyrim. What the fuck is in this game, bro?
This game just looks like, I've watched a couple gameplay videos, and I don't know, there's something about it's just like an old.
It looks cool as shit.
It's just a fantasy game. Yeah, it just looks like a fantasy game to me, and it actually makes me want to go back and play Final Fantasy 16. Because I'm like in that mode. So when I see it, I'm just like, that looks fucking fun. And it looks dope. You can write a bear. It might be too grand a scale for the PS5. It could be pushed back. I don't know, but it looks cool as fuck. And it's one of the ones that caught my eye. And I'm like, I kind of want to play that. It almost feels like it should be a AA game, like Echoes of the End or something. And it just happens to have
Pearl Abyss got money. World. All that gotcha money from Black Desert Online, and that's what makes me skeptical about this game, is that this is kind of like single player Black Desert. And Black Desert, while it does have good combat, has amazing combat. A lot of the time in Black Desert is spent auto walking through generic forests with not much going on in there. So that's why I'm kind of a little bit like, I don't mind if the world is 2 times larger than Skyrim, but you know, even in an Elder Scrolls game, the mundanity of travel is kind of the point, because you're living. It's kind of like a virtual world that you live in a little bit. Whereas Crimson Desert, we got mechs, we're fighting dragons. You're flying dragons. I'm doing fucking haymakers and flying around with dark wings and sneaking into bases. Like, what the fuck? Like,
I don't know.
If I have to climb a tower in that game, I swear to God, I will uninstall the game. If I have to climb a tower that unlocks a bunch of unlockables on the map, I'm out of it.
unlocks other points of interest.
Yeah.
I'm not against. I can do about 2 open world games a year. I feel like you know how a lot of niggas now grew up with Minecraft, so they love crafting in their games. They love that mechanic. Or a lot of niggas like battle royales because they grew up with Fortnite. You know, I grew up when the open world boom was happening, so I kind of like the whole checkboxy thing. I know a lot of people are tired of it, but like, I don't mind it. I don't need it in every game, but I think it has its place. And when it's done well, I'm like, I embrace it. So I'm looking forward to Crimson Desert. We'll see if it even comes out this year. We'll see if it's good.
It's I
feel like
this
is going to be a
month.
strong 6. Really?
This shit was supposed to, yeah, I think it's supposed to come out like next week.
I feel like it's going to be a strong like 6. I feel like they're going to 6 out of 10 or something. We'll see.
Yeah, I can see it being like a little 7 out of 10 romp. I feel like people are just gonna say the open world is pretty dead. That's pretty much what I can see people saying.
Lords of the Fallen 2. I had some interest in the first Lords of the Fallen, but I didn't get to it. And then they did a Lords of the Fallen 2.0, and I went in there and I made a character and I played maybe like the first level, and I was like, this is pretty cool. It's a Souls game. But for whatever reason, I was like, I just can't commit to this. You know, well, for one, it was the demo. It was like the demo of Lord of the Fallen 2.0. So I was like, I just don't want to commit to this Souls game right now. But Lords of the Fallen 2, after seeing some of the trailers and gameplay, the character customizations, all the improvements that they made, I'm like, okay, maybe I'll try this Souls game and really get into this, because I like the lantern aspect a lot. I'm a huge Elise knows this about me, but I like games. I'm weird. Like, I like flashlights and lanterns, which is why I like games like Resident Evil and Silent Hill. Like, give me a flashlight to like do something with, you know. I also like the dual world thing, you know, which is very Silent Hill like, where, you know, you have like the regular or somewhat regular and then the more obscene world. There's some really weird creature designs, which I feel like is becoming more common these days with like dark fantasy. You see these absurd fucking creatures that you're fighting. So we'll see if the game is good. I have no clue. But I think I'm going to be there day one. And I feel like a fake fan jumping into the second one, but I really don't care. I'm going to try it out.
Fuck it.
If you want to play co-op, let me know. Because I'm pretty sure it's going to be day one co-op.
I'm about to say, I definitely have always room for one Souls like every year that I don't know where I go, hey, let me just play this Souls like for no reason. So maybe.
Tomb Raider Legacy of Atlantis. Playing as Kim Kardashian as Lara Croft in this new era of Tomb Raider, I think is kind of exciting. I feel like they're kind of going back to having Lara Croft be a sex symbol in games, which I think is interesting. As you know, Sondi, I loved Rise of the Tomb Raider and Shadow of the Tomb Raider.
Oh yeah,
I really like those games. I like the exploration. I like what they did to it. I don't know what they're gonna do with this one. I don't know if they're just gonna go back to like basic Tomb Raider and like just have her traverse things and that's it. I hope they have like side tombs, and I hope they kind of keep some of what the survival trilogy kind of built out.
I think that's what's going to be the next game, though, because I believe that this Legacy of Atlantis, I believe that this is a remake of the first game, and like the new engine.
And I understood that, and I was reading about it, but it said that they were going to add some quality of life, that they were going to change something. Like it, they're calling it a reimagining. So to me, that means that it's more than just
it's more than it's just an adaptation of
the first one. So I'm curious on what that's gonna be like. So I'm excited about that. For some reason, I am more skeptical about it. This is probably one of the games I might not pick up day one and just like wait to see like what it is really.
I'll wait for Chris.
Because I didn't. Yeah, because I'm not like a huge fan of like the original Tomb Raider games by any means. Like I don't really fuck with them at all. So if it's just gonna be that, then I'll probably like just skip out on it. And then of course Dynasty Warriors 3 Remastered, which comes out like in April or March or something. Dynasty Warriors 3 is actually the only one I haven't played. I've played 4, 5, 6, 7. You know, I played them all except for 3. 8, 9, and Origins. So Dynasty Warriors 3 being remastered, and that's sort of starting the franchise, you know, making it big. That's sort of what gained its popularity. It was the third entry. Is exciting. So I'm kind of really looking forward to jumping into that and seeing what makes it so special. I hope that there is going to be some quality of life features, because remastering in Unreal Engine 5 a game from 2003,
Yeah, that's back
not,
when like
if
the group of enemies was like 10 people.
3 people. Yeah, exactly. And the progression was kind of like stiff and the levels were long. I remember that. So hopefully they do some like cleanup and make it more streamlined or something, improve it, you know. But also I think buying this will send a message to Koei to also remake 4, maybe 5. Maybe they'll do the Resident Evil thing and just fucking go back and remake
Samurai
some of
Warriors,
those.
please.
Yes, yeah, remake the first one. You know, that would be dope. So I'm gonna pick that up day one. But yeah, that's my top 5 most anticipated, with some other games that I'm looking forward to. But these are the ones that I'm looking out for. And I'm looking at it, and the list doesn't feel like me at all for some reason, except for like Wolverine and Dynasty Warriors. I'm like, huh.
Yeah,
Anyways,
but next year is also another year of just like extremely stacked like games. Like there's Bubsy 4D, there's Neo 3, there's that Phantom Blade Zero, there's
Phantom Blade Zero is probably like a honorable mention.
Yeah, there's the Super Meat Boy 2, there's a lot coming out next year. Reanimal, I definitely want to check out. I definitely want to check out the new Gears of War if it comes out. I will probably be going back into World of Warcraft because I always do when there's a new expansion. And 007. Like, there's too many games. Yeah. Entirely too many games. But my top 5, No Straight Roads 2 is definitely a gotta play it. Gotta play it day one. Love the very first game. I'm very excited to see where they go from here, because the very first game was based around them using rock and roll to fight EDM, which took over the city. But now they're traveling outside of the city, so it makes me more interested on because in the first game, the drummer, which is the dude that you can play as, his brother is a rapper and he raps. He like comes into the city and like you have rap battles with him randomly. So I'm interested in seeing like how they play and incorporate different genres, because that was a fun part about No Straight Roads soundtrack, is that you had a rock version, an EDM version, and then like a third like random mix version. So like for one character, it was like a hyper pop, K-pop sounding version. Then you had like a synth wave like chill version of the song, and then the rock and roll version of the song that sounded like an anime opening. So I'm interested to see where they go, especially because it's a rhythm-based action adventure game. Like you have to jump on the beat, you got to dodge on the beat, you got to attack on the beat. It's only up from here. I'm just glad that they're making a sequel for that. Wolverine, I also have that on my list, but we are Marvel heads, so honestly, this is just the year for Marvel to stick the landing on everything. Because if this Wolverine doesn't hit, then Insomniac, we snatching your chain, bro. Sorry, you can't make no more Marvel games. Yeah. Same thing with the Doomsday and Wonder Man in 2 weeks and stuff. You know, Marvel, you're on a short leash right now. If this Ultimate Endgame doesn't hit in the comics, you might be axed out.
It might be a bad year for. Yeah, we could talk about Doomsday in a different status check or something, but yeah, that is.
Yeah. But
I'm skeptical.
I have faith in Wolverine, but I have fears that it's gonna just be Arkham Combat XXXXX, counter Y into YB, and then you dismember a guy and slice his head off or something like that.
It is gonna be that.
Yeah,
it has to be, because they have to play it safe. They're not gonna do anything too crazy. Like it's gonna be like,
they're not gonna have nothing
although
crazy.
Maybe
like
might be a bit more complex.
Hold L2 and then you can like aim, and then when you press R2, Wolverine like pounces. They're not gonna have nothing crazy like that, bro. It's gonna be.
I should add, X-Men Wolverine Origins should be in our list for season 6. I should make that my third pick, as I'm still kind of deciding. I think I'm gonna go with Rogue Galaxy. I think I'm gonna go with Rogue Galaxy, but
yeah. I'm really excited for Fable, and I can't wait for this Xbox Direct that's gonna be coming up at the time of us recording this. I'm so excited for that game, just because I just really like Fable. It's a really cool series and franchise. Each game is completely different, but I kind of just really like every single game in the Fable series. There wasn't one that I like. A lot of people like to hate Fable 3 and be like, "Oh, that one sucks." But honestly, I fuck with all three of them. I think all three of them are solid titles. I think all of them, three of them have solid gameplay. But once again, like I was talking about with Hell is S, it is literally the game that had a golden breadcrumb to lead you to where you need to go. So like, it is the start of like dumbing down gaming for people. Like, you have a literal, like Fable 2, you have a literal dog and you just follow the dog because it leads you to whatever's interesting. So I think from what I've seen from Fable before, what they showed, it looks very interesting. It looks like, unironically, it looks like the combat is like Echoes of the End or Jedi Survivors, but good.
I want to add real quick a counter just to the Hella Sus director saying, you know, that we've lost a sense of adventure. I think that there can be a heavy-handedness when it comes to directing the player where to go next, but I also think that a lot of these developers have data that shows that niggas weren't finishing games because they didn't know where to go.
Yeah.
And so people would just not beat their games, and so they're like, we need. That's why the yellow
paint and shit,
the highlight in games or whatever, the paint or the cloth, because and when you don't know where to go.
I'm guilty of it too. When I can't find where I'm gonna go, I look for like the white discoloration on something, or like I look for the discoloration in the environment to be like, okay, that's interactable. So I completely understand it, because if I don't know if it's whether it's graphic fidelity or a lack of real. I'm trying to think of the word for this, because it's not. I don't want to say railroading. But like, because the worlds are more open, there's more freedom for the player. So the player might not be at the exact spot that you're thinking that they're at when they need to be. So like, a character might be like, let's climb up here, and you'll be over here looking at some bullshit, and you won't know what the fuck they're talking about. So you gotta have that yellow tape to know, oh, he went up there, or the waypoint above their head or whatever like that. So I mean, I get it. I hope Fable doesn't have any waypoints though.
Real quick, Avatar Frontiers of Pandora. Dude, that game was so difficult for me to navigate. I can't tell if I'm getting older or what, but like, even in third person, because there was a third person update and I jumped back in, I'm like, where the fuck am I going? Which I feel like this has never happened to me in an open world. And there is a waypoint, but it's like, it takes forever to get there, and there's so much shit in your way, and it's just like not clear on if it's up or down. Yeah. I'm like, that's
what I'm saying.
I played for about 10 hours and I was like, fuck this.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. The fidelity of graphics has made it to where foliage and water and everything is so much more.
You can't tell.
Yeah, it's so much more to the environment, because back in the day, like PS2, the grass was a flat texture. Easy. The wall is a flat texture. I'm sorry, I hit the mic. Everything was a flat texture, so like, you kind of ease. There's not like gonna be like all this geometry and set dressing in front of you, but now there is. So it's like, oh, I can't blur the line between like, this is where I can go and this is part of the game, and this is just like a hidden invisible wall or something like that. So after playing the demo that they released after the Game Awards, Pragmata is top 2. Capcom, I'm sorry, you're getting $370 from me.
I think I might swap out my Tomb Raider for Pragmata.
That demo,
I'll just
really sold me.
I'll leave it as an honorable mention. It looks cool.
The demo, it seems very weird at first when you look at it and you're like, okay, I'm doing a puzzle game in the middle of my like survival horror shooting game. But I mean, it's got some like Vanquish perfect dodging. It's got some like the way that you do the hacking, because you like lock in and you're aiming, and then you do it's on the face buttons instead of doing like an analog stick or a D-pad or something like that. So you can still move, you can still aim. So you're just doing the quick puzzle, and then as soon as you do the puzzle, you can just wail on them with the gun. It's kind of fun and interesting, and it's really different. I feel like it's going to be a very short little romp, because if the demo has a timer and they were making like little challenges on beating the game as quickly as possible, pretty sure the main game is going to be the same way as well. So it's going to be like New Game Plus, all that vibes. I'm really excited for it. I think it's going to be really good. Onimusha, unfortunately, I played through all the Onimusha games before they announced Onimusha, and then as soon as I finished all the Onimushas, they announced Onimusha. So I'm excited for Onimusha.
That's perfect.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah, Onimusha is gonna be great.
Again,
looks like it's gonna be better than Resident Evil 9. I
feel. Onimusha, I'd be more excited for if, like I said earlier, I wasn't burnt out on the Japanese aesthetic of that time period. I'm just like I don't want. I'll probably pick it up like on a sale or something. But like, when's it coming out? It's coming out first. Is it Q1 or is it coming out in summer? So summer game.
I'm trying to think because it's they're all three coming out like back to back. Capcom's kind of eating themselves in the foot a little bit right there.
Yeah, they should have spaced them out a bit.
Because Pragmata comes out in April, Resident Evil's February.
Okay, so
and Onimusha doesn't have a date yet, but I'm gonna assume it's probably gonna be either summer or like September.
Okay. Yeah, the third quarter, that makes sense.
Yeah.
So yeah, maybe by then I'll be in the mood. But yeah, when I first saw it, like the first trailer, I was like, "This looks dope. I want to play this." But I think as time has gone on, I'm like, I'm so tired of that environment. Like I don't want to be in it. It's just I'm sick.
I feel you. Yeah.
So, but the combat looks dope though. Like it looks so cool. So maybe I'll be there day one. Pragmata maybe as well. We'll see. That's kind of we're getting into about like $400 worth of games.
That's what I'm saying. And we still got Resident Evil 9.
So I don't know.
Oh my god, Grand Theft Auto 6.
Are you picking that up?
Probably. I would be lying to you if I said no. Like that's why.
Did you play Village?
No, I was probably gonna play Village pretty soon.
Did you play the Resident Evil 7?
I played 7, but I don't know. I just don't like that first person shit, and I don't know. I just don't like what's his name, Ethan. I don't like him as a character. I think he's kind of lame, and I don't like his little regeneration. I'd rather just do my thing. I don't know.
Keep yeah. Well, but you know what's interesting about RE9 is they're doing the RE6 thing where they're like doing 2 campaigns or 2 modes where Leon is like the action focused thing, and then fucking and I'm like, what do you guys? Didn't you learn with Resident Evil 6?
And you know, and that's what makes me think that there's gonna be a third campaign. There's gonna be like I feel it in my bones they're gonna save Jill, because it's like you can't have
somebody. Yeah,
it's got to be Claire or Jill that has to pull up as well. Because if we're going back to Raccoon City, it's got to be Claire or Jill. You got the person from Outbreak already with the daughter of the person. And we got Leon. So the only other person you can do is Jill to like complete the trifecta of people that's been in Raccoon City, and she would be like the Ada Wong of the game and have her own like. After you beat these 2, then you get Jill's story, and she's doing some crazy shit in the background that helps out everybody. I called it here first.
That's a good. Yeah, that's definitely a good. That's a good theory. But all right, guys, that is our top 5 games of 2025 and our top 5 most anticipated games of 2026. Whether we'll buy these games or play them, or if they'll even come out, that's all up in the air. Definitely check out what our top 5 games were, though. I'm sure some of you guys played them, and if you did, let us know in the comments if we're wrong about our top 5s. No, obviously everybody has their own top 5, but maybe you agree with some of the games that we thought were the best, and maybe you don't. But yeah, we look forward to seeing you guys in the next video. So yeah, peace out.
Ciao.